Chapter 3646. According to the memories I've obtained, many of these messengers are clones created by the old monsters in the Invincible domain. There are no rules in the Invincible domain. Through this method, they can ensure their own safety. Wang Xian looked at the trading area, his eyes shining. He hesitated for a moment, and then flew down to the ground. Wang. Below him, there was an array formation. When he landed, he could easily enter it. However, after entering, he felt a powerful force suppressing him. Suppressing his own strength, this suppression made it so that he couldn't even use 1/10 of his strength. This grand array was left behind on this continent. Its function was to protect and suppress the enemy. Even a crazy demon would not be able to break this array. As for the suppressive force, no matter which expert entered, they would not be able to display even 1/10 of their strength. This was the perfect trading area. Wang Xian did not attract the attention of many experts when he entered. The entire trading area was very small, spanning only 10,000 kilometers. There weren't many experts walking around here. Every expert had a card around them, and on it was written the items they were trading. Wang Xian swept his gaze across. There were many items being traded, including the corpses of Cosmic Beast. He saw all kinds of magical herbs, treasures, innate spiritual treasures, GU worms, strange items, and even forbidden arts. There are even dark ghost clones. Wang Xian saw a signboard beside an illusory figure with the words Trading Dark Ghost written on it. Unowned Dark Ghost Bait. Currently, with the upgrade of the Dragon Palace and the Progenitor Tree, Wang Xian could have 2 more Dark Ghost clones. As long as he could obtain Dark Ghost, he could quickly reach the same level as him. Wang Xian's current combat strength, without relying on the 5 elements Grindstone, Tai Chi Dragon Coil, and Unbeginning Sacred Wings, was at the level of a First-Order Universe Sovereign. His Nether Ghost avatar also possessed this kind of strength. Adding 1 more Dark Ghost clone was equivalent to adding the strength of an ordinary First-Order Universe Sovereign. This was a significant increase. If all 4 of his Nether Ghost avatars worked together, the power they could display was even stronger than the 5 elements Grindstone. Wang Xian moved and instantly appeared in front of the stall. At the side of the stall, a Netherworld expert glanced at him but didn't say anything. 5 eternal womb fruits that can stabilize their minds in exchange for 2 Dark Ghost clones. Tell your master if he's willing to trade, said Wang Xian to the expert from the Undead clan. A treasure to stabilize the mind? The expert from the Nether clan was taken aback, and his face was filled with astonishment. What divine fruit? I need to take a look. The expert from the undead race stared at Wang Xian and asked immediately. Buzz. With a flick of his palm, the soul-returning fetus fruit appeared in front of him. The aura of a peak universe supreme level fruit can indeed stabilize the mind, but 5 of them for 2 Dark Ghost avatars is too little. The Nether Ghost race expert's eyes lit up as he carefully sized them up and spoke. Ask your master. If he doesn't want to trade, then so be it, said Wang Xian plainly. The eyes of that expert from the Nether Ghost clan flickered, and then he slowly closed his eyes. Buzz. However, Wang Xian soon sensed a change in the aura of this expert from the Nether clan. His aura was rising rapidly, and his temperament had also undergone a drastic change. A pair of deep eyes stared at Wang Xian. Then, his gaze landed on the eternal womb fruits in front of him. Dragon King of the Dragon Palace? Asked the expert from the Nether clan with a tinge of doubt. Oh, yes. Wang Xian nodded and did not hide anything. He stared at him and asked, Are you willing to trade? Deal. I want more eternal womb fruits. The expert from the Nether clan replied immediately. More eternal womb fruits? That depends on whether you can come up with enough items. Wang Xian smiled and said, I only need 2 Dark Ghosts. I won't take any more. Dragon King, your asking price is too high, said the expert from the Nether clan. It's a rare commodity. If you don't want it, you don't have to take it. Wang Xian replied plainly. Give me 4. The expert from the Nether clan waved his palm, and 2 Dark Ghosts and 10 innate spiritual treasures appeared in his hand. Wang Xian revealed a smile when he saw it. He waved his palm again, and 4 eternal womb fruits appeared in his hand. The deal was completed. To Wang Xian, such a deal was a huge profit. Dragon King of the Dragon Palace? Divine fruit that can stabilize one's mind? At this time, an expert at the side couldn't help but exclaim in a low voice when he saw the deal. Yes. Consume the eternal womb fruits to stabilize one's mind. Your master wants to trade and take out the treasures. You should all know my price, right? Wang Xian looked around and spoke with a faint smile. As he spoke, an identical figure appeared beside him. One of the figures moved and left the place immediately. Wang Xian had left a doppelganger here to prevent a large number of experts from besieging him. As for his real body, he could hide in other places. His doppelganger would complete the deal. If someone wanted to attack him, it wouldn't matter even if his doppelganger died. The treasures of his doppelganger could also be placed in the God Nation, which was the Dragon Palace. This method was also used by many old monsters in this trading venue. There are still a few thousand eternal womb fruits left on the ancestral tree. Currently, they are of no use to the Dragon Palace. If I can exchange them for a large batch of innate spiritual treasures and resources, it will be of great benefit to the Dragon Palace. As Wang Xian flew out of this continent, he could sense many eyes on him. He immediately increased his speed. Swish! He flew for half an hour, and his eyes scanned the surroundings. Immediately, he flew towards the opposite side of the river. When he arrived at the territory of the wild beast Galactic Beast, he hid on top of a tree. This place wasn't too far away from the trading venue. Wang Xian hid on top of the tree and sensed everything that was happening in the trading venue. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace wants to trade here. Inform our master immediately. It's a treasure that can stabilize one's mind. To our master, it's a life-saving item. Such a divine fruit is extremely tempting to the crazy demons. It will also be of great use to our master. At this moment, Wang Xian's arrival caused quite a stir in the trading venue. The aura of some second-order universe sovereigns instantly changed. Clearly, they were occupied by the old monsters and looked towards Wang Xian's doppelganger. This doppelganger of Wang Xian had the strength of a third-order universe sovereign. He sat there with his legs crossed, wrote down the trading rules, and looked around with a smile. Chapter 3647. The Dragon King has appeared at the trading center. Who would have expected him to show up at the trading center? Not only that, but he is also openly trading the divine fruit that can stabilize one's mind. Many old monsters in the Invincible domain have received the news. Who would have expected the Dragon King to be so unscrupulous? I heard that after his real body arrived, he left behind a doppelganger. The Dragon King is still cautious and not arrogant enough to think that he is invincible. Let's go. We have the treasure that the third prince gave us. Through his doppelganger, we can find his real body. In the Invincible domain, the news of Wang Xian's appearance at the trading center immediately reached the ears of the old monsters from the Angel clan. They had left their underlings in the trading center. The moment Wang Xian appeared, they naturally received the report from their underlings. This was a pleasant surprise for them. They had been searching for the Dragon King during this period of time. However, the Invincible domain was too vast. Without any news or clues, it was difficult to find him. Over a dozen experts from the Angel clan flew towards the trading center immediately without any hesitation. It wasn't just the Angel clan. In a forest in the Invincible domain, 40 to 50 phoenixes flapped their beautiful wings and flew towards the trading center. In addition, other experts who received the news also rushed towards the trading center immediately. Treasures that could stabilize one's mind were extremely useful for most experts in the Invincible domain. In fact, all the top-notch old monsters in the Invincible domain who received the news also flew towards the trading center. To some of the top-notch old monsters, they were very close to going crazy. Once their strength continued to increase, they might not be able to keep up with the increase in strength. Once they couldn't keep up, they would go crazy. Therefore, treasures that could stabilize one's mind were extremely important to them. When they received the treasures that could stabilize one's mind from the Dragon King in the trading center, experts flew over one after another. Swish, swish, swish. In the trading center, the old monsters from the Invincible domain had left treasures with their underlings or doppelgangers. When they wanted to come over, They could easily teleport over. Soon, figures appeared around the trading center. In some places, there were over a dozen figures that appeared instantly. Their gazes swept across their surroundings, filled with vigilance. In the Invincible domain, there were many people who were opponents and enemies. There were no rules here. If one wanted to survive here, one had to be careful and vigilant. After all, many experts from the top clans were gathered here, and many of these experts were extremely strained. An assassination attempt by the Dark Race. The mysteries of the Magi race. The sea of skeletons of the Skeleton clan. Go inside. Some of the experts moved and immediately flew towards the trading center. The trading area was a place left behind when the Invincible domain was first formed. Once they stepped inside, their strength would greatly decrease. But that didn't mean that they couldn't fight here, so they were still very careful. However, the trading center was extremely small. When they entered, they immediately saw Wang Xian's doppelganger. A signboard was erected there. Everyone could see it clearly. One soul-returning fetus fruit could be exchanged for 5 carnate spiritual treasures. That's the Dragon King. His aura is very weak. It's just a clone. A divine tiger stared at Wang Xian with gleaming eyes. I heard that this fruit is at the pinnacle of the venerable realm. This is an exorbitant price. An old man moved and came to the front of Wang Xian's clone. Dragon King, can you show us a soul-returning fruit? He said to Wang Xian. Sure. Wang Xian moved his palm and a fruit appeared in front of him. The aura of the soul-returning fruit spread to the surroundings. All the experts could sense it clearly. A pinnacle of the venerable realm. Your price is too high. The old man looked at Wang Xian. Such a high price might offend some people. Why not make it cheaper and make some friends? Offend people? Scram if you can't afford it. Don't lose your life over a fruit. Wang Xian looked at the old man and answered calmly. His words caused the old man's face to instantly darken. His expression changed and he let out a light snort. Hee, if you want to trade, go ahead. If not, scram. This price won't change, said Wang Xian expressionlessly as he swept his gaze across the surroundings. This Dragon King is so arrogant. There's no other way. They have clearly marked the price. It's up to you whether you want to trade or not. Some of the experts frowned slightly when they heard his word. I want a everlasting fetus fruit. At this time, a figure wearing a bamboo hat and shrouded in green energy walked over and took out 5 innate spiritual treasures. Wang Xian moved his palm and traded. The first trade was completed. He was secretly delighted. This was a pleasant surprise. When he came here, he did not expect the everlasting fetus fruit to be so useful. There was no need for the Tai Chi Dragon Board and 5 Elements Grindstone to devour the innate spiritual treasures. This was because the enhancement of the Tai Chi Dragon Board and 5 Elements Grindstone could only be enhanced by some unique treasures. These treasures could be similar to the 12th tier Water Lotus. Of course, if Wang Xian had a way to melt the innate spiritual treasures, the Tai Chi Dragon Board and 5 Elements Grindstone could also absorb the innate spiritual treasures to enhance themselves. However, innate spiritual treasures were extremely sturdy and difficult to destroy. Therefore, these innate spiritual treasures, they could be given to the experts of the Dragon Palace. Although the divine dragons did not need to use weapons like swords, spears, or rods, some special innate spiritual treasures could enhance the strength of the divine dragon. Secondly, innate spiritual treasures could be melted and could help the divine dragons nurture the Dragon Ball. These innate spiritual treasures were prepared for the experts of the Dragon Palace. The old monsters in the Invincible domain were all extremely powerful existences. They had lived for a long time and would have many treasures in their hand. Innate spiritual treasures were rare, but there were many of them in the universe. This was because some innate spiritual treasures could be forged after birth. Dragon King, I want 2 everlasting fetus fruit. The first trade was completed. Soon, an expert from the Divine Tiger clan came over, took out some resources, and spoke to Wang Xian. Wang Xian immediately took out 2 everlasting fetus fruit. In the Invincible domain, most of the old monsters were still in awe of Wang Xian. After all, the Tai Shui Demon King, the Old Scholar, the Black Tower Sorcerer, and even the crazy devil seal had died in the hands of Wang Xian. In the entire Invincible domain, there were probably no more than 3 who could defeat the Dragon King in a one-on-one battle. In fact, none of them existed. Some of the old monsters without a team or influence could only resort to trade if they wanted to stabilize their mental state and obtain treasures. Moreover, for many of the old monsters, some of the treasures in their hands were useless to them. Chapter 3648. How's the effect of consuming the eternal pregnancy fruit? In the trading area, the expert from the Divine Tiger clan who had purchased 2 eternal pregnancy fruits walked to the side. Beside him, there were a dozen experts from the Divine Tiger clan. When they saw him consuming an eternal pregnancy fruit, they couldn't help but ask. It's useful. It's very useful. I can clearly feel that my mind is much clearer now. That expert from the Divine Tiger clan could feel the changes in his body and couldn't help but glow. Without any hesitation, he consumed the second fruit. The effect isn't bad. At least it's beneficial to me. However, I reckon the stronger one is, the lesser the effect. I can only consume it in large quantities. That expert from the Divine Tiger clan continued. Let's go and trade some. The other experts from the Divine Tiger clan nodded and walked towards Wang Xian's doppelganger. Dragon King, we want 30. Do you have any? A dozen experts from the Divine Tiger clan walked over and asked. Not to mention 30, even 300 are available. Wang Xian smiled faintly and said to them. Heh! Upon hearing Wang Xian, the experts from the Divine Tiger clan were taken aback. With a wave of their palms, all the trading treasures appeared in front of them. We are buying so many at once. Can you give us one for free? An expert from the Divine Tiger clan couldn't help but ask. If you buy 100, I can give you one. 30 is too little. Wang Xian rejected them directly. This made the experts from the Divine Tiger clan frown slightly, but they didn't say a word. Wang Xian took out 30 eternal pregnancy fruits and kept over 100 inborn spiritual treasures into the Dragon Palace. Did you hear what the Dragon King said? He can even take out 300. A fruit at the pinnacle of the universe supremacy level. Such a divine fruit isn't precious to the pinnacle races. However, divine fruits with such effects are extremely rare. The reason why the Dragon King can take out so many eternal pregnancy fruits must be because of a powerful divine tree in the Dragon Palace. This divine tree must have borne a large number of eternal pregnancy fruit. That should be the case. If he can take out 300, it seems like the Dragon King will soon have eternal pregnancy fruits. He's making a killing this time. There are so many eternal pregnancy fruits on hand, and they are selling them at such a high price. This is simply daylight robbery. When the surrounding experts heard Wang Xian's words, they were filled with passion and helplessness. The price was too high. But since that was the case, many experts immediately headed towards Wang Xian to trade. In just one day, Wang Xian had traded over 300 eternal pregnancy fruit. TSK, the old monsters of the Invincible domain are really expensive. Wang Xian, who was hiding on top of a tree, was observing the day's harvest. He looked slightly excited. That was more than 1,500 carnate numinous treasures. What a haul! This was insane. But the eternal pregnancy fruit he sold? Not even 1/10 of it. Master, the Dragon Palace's Dragon King has been trading for an entire day? According to my calculations, he should have traded more than 340 eternal pregnancy fruits. He should still have a lot of them with him. As time passed, more and more old monsters arrived. Their subordinates reported the situation. When he heard that there were more than 400 eternal pregnancy fruits, all of their breaths were incomparably hot. How many of these fruits does the Dragon King have? Some old monsters couldn't help but think to themselves. As time passed, the trading continued. Although there weren't as many as at the beginning, there were still old monsters rushing over to carry out some trade. The surroundings of the trading center, more and more experts gathered. In just a short period of time, there were more than 1,000 of them. Almost 700 fruits have been traded. That's crazy. How many does the Dragon King have in stock? As the third day approached, some old monsters couldn't help but exclaim, 3 days was a very short period of time for them, but in these 3 days, they had witnessed the trading of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King. This was simply violence. He was earning like crazy. Great witch! Great witch! At this moment, a respectful voice was suddenly heard. When the surrounding old monsters heard this form of address, their expressions changed slightly. They quickly looked behind them. Behind them, an old lady with a magic staff was walking over. The old lady's face was filled with dense tattoos. Her exposed skin was also covered in tattoos. She was only about 1.5 meters tall and looked hunched. However, the surrounding old monsters were filled with vigilance and fear when they saw her. Some of the old monsters even hid in the distance. Old witch. She's here. She's here too. An expert from the Black Tortoise clan said solemnly as he narrowed his eyes when he saw the figure walking over. The old witch didn't pay attention to any of the experts around her and walked straight into the trading center. She looked at Wang Xian and walked over directly. Great witch! Great witch! When the surrounding old monsters from the Invincible domain saw her, they quickly made way for her. The arrival of the old witch instantly attracted Wang Xian's attention. As he looked at this figure, information about her appeared in his mind. Old witch. An old monster from the sorcerer clan. She used to be a horrifying maniac. However, a long time ago, she used a special method to suppress her mind and stopped her from being a maniac. However, her strength was definitely at the level of a maniac, much stronger than the maniac seal. Moreover, she was widely recognized as the strongest sorcerer in the Invincible domain. She was also known as Old Witch. 10. The old witch walked to Wang Xian and said to him, 50 inborn spiritual treasures flew over. All right. Wang Xian nodded and kept them. Immediately, he passed 10 eternal pregnancy fruits to her. The old witch looked at the eternal pregnancy fruits and sensed the aura they exuded. Her expression fluctuated. She opened her palm and the tattoo on her palm shone brightly. The eternal pregnancy fruits disappeared. The old witch did not leave. Instead, she stood there as though she was waiting for something. Great. However, 10 seconds later, a creepy voice came from the old witch's mouth. Her murky eyes revealed a creepy expression as she stared at Wang Xian. She gripped her wand tightly in her hand. 100. Give me 100 eternal pregnancy fruit. As she spoke in a creepy voice, she stared at Wang Xian with burning eyes. The aura of the old witch had also changed. Waves of energy dispersed to the surroundings. Ha! What's going on? The old witch wants 100 eternal pregnancy fruits from the Dragon King. Do you want to trade or? The sudden change startled everyone. Some of the old monsters hurriedly retreated and looked on. If you want it, trade with your items. Wang Xian looked at the changes in the old witch. His eyes flickered as he spoke calmly. Chapter 3649. I don't have enough resources on hand. Give me 100. If I can solve the problem with my body and make a breakthrough, I'll compensate you. Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, the old witch stared at him and said, Freeloading? Wang Xian sneered at her. If you don't have anything to trade, get lost. Don't disturb my business. SSS, the Dragon King doesn't care about the old witch at all. He's not giving her any face at all. Of course not. The old witch is strong, but the Dragon King isn't weak either. The surrounding old monsters' eyes lit up when they saw the sudden change. Cough cough, Dragon King, do you know that it's best not to offend a sorcerer? Otherwise, you'll wish you were dead. Don't worry, I'll make you hand over all the eternal pregnancy fruits you have. As the old witch spoke, the tattoo on her body seemed to have come alive and extended towards Wang Xian's avatar. Huh! Wang Xian looked over with a cold gleam in his eyes. Old thing, you're courting death. Cough cough, is that so? The old witch smiled eerily and the tattoo extended to Wang Xian's feet. Wang Xian immediately felt a terrifying force restraining him. In the trading center, everyone's strength would be suppressed. However, this was just an avatar of Wang Xian and wasn't very strong. Facing the old witch, he couldn't put up any resistance. Crackle. Streaks of lightning appeared around Wang Xian and attacked the old witch in front of him. Wang. The old witch stood in front of him without moving. The tattoos on her body shone brightly and easily blocked the attack. Cough cough cough, Dragon King, you're very strong. However, leaving this avatar here is your biggest weakness. If you don't hand over all the eternal pregnancy fruits to me, I'll destroy you and your dragon palace. As the old witch spoke, Wang Xian's avatar, which was covered by the tattoo, was gradually melted into flesh and blood. From the position of the legs, it slowly condensed into a piece of flesh. Wang Xian lowered his head and saw his avatar being killed. He looked at the old witch calmly and said, "You'll die." As he finished his sentence, the entire avatar melted into a ball of flesh. Cough cough cough. "I'll die." The old witch smiled sinisterly. She extended her hand to take the blood orb and walked straight out. This. The old witch actually destroyed the Dragon King's doppelganger. The old witch wants to use the Dragon King's clone to curse his body. Make the Dragon King submit. The old witch is the strongest wizard in the Invincible region. If she curses the Dragon King in her own lair, wouldn't the Dragon King be cursed at all times? How can the Dragon King dodge it? The price of the Dragon King's eternal embryo fruit is too high. The old witch wants to deal with the Dragon King. This time, the Dragon King will suffer. The surrounding old monsters of the Invincible domain saw this scene. His face was filled with astonishment. Another terrifying existence in their Invincible domain. Another mad demon-level existence. The old witch attacked the Dragon King. He even killed the Dragon King's doppelganger. This made them very shocked. Some were surprised, while others cheered. The Dragon King was selling the eternal pregnancy fruit at such a high price. This had already caused many old monsters to feel very displeased. The old witch was holding the flesh ball of Wang Xian's doppelganger in her hand. The creepy old face that was filled with tattoos revealed a smile and flew forward. At this position, without reaching a certain level of strength, it was impossible to return to one's holy kingdom instantly. Even the old witch couldn't do it. She wanted to return to her lair, and then curse the Dragon King, to enslave him. TSK? Old thing. Since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. At this moment, Wang Xian, who was hiding on the tree, sensed everything. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. This old witch wanted to make him submit to her through curses. With a long-distance curse, there was no room for resistance. Moreover, she would do all this in her own lair. By then, even if Wang Xian could find her lair, the old witch wouldn't be afraid. Because in her own lair, she was confident that she could fight 3 to 4 existences of the same level as her. The Dragon King could kill the crazed demon seal, but in her own lair, she was also confident that she could fight the Dragon King. This was also the reason why she dared to kill Wang Xian's doppelganger. A sorcerer's lair was extremely terrifying. Wang Xian could guess what the old witch was thinking. Therefore, when the old witch made her move, he flew in the direction of the trading center. This time, he unleashed his speed to the extreme. With the speed of a second-order universe sovereign, he could reach the trading center in 10 minutes. This old witch has left the trading center. In this space, it's impossible to return to one's holy kingdom instantly. I'll be able to catch up with you in 15 minutes. Courting death, old thing. Wang Xian's eyes shone brightly. His doppelganger was killed, but Wang Xian had left the lightning power on the old witch. Unparalleled sacred wings void search. Now that Wang Xian's strength had increased, his void search ability had also improved tremendously. With his current strength, the lightning power on the old witch couldn't be sensed at all. Swoosh. Wang Xian flapped his unparalleled sacred wings and gave chase. In front of the trading center, the old witch was flying in one direction with the speed of a first-order universe sovereign. Clearly, that direction was the direction of her lair. Behind. The old monsters of the Invincible domain didn't dare to follow an existence of the old witch's level. They could only watch as she left. News of what happened at the trading center spread like wildfire. After all, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace had been selling mental stabilizing treasures in the trading center recently, attracting a large number of old monster. There were still many old monsters on their way. Now that something like this happened, it naturally caused a huge commotion. 10 minutes was a very short time. If the old witch wanted to return to her lair, given her speed, she would need a day. It was a good idea to spread the news. After all, there were many sources of books, and they were updated quickly. I sensed it, old thing. 10 minutes later, Wang Xian sensed the old witch's location. His dragon eyes were filled with murderous intent. Swoosh! The unparalleled sacred wings flapped, and the old witch's figure appeared in his sight. Wang Xian instantly transformed into his divine dragon form. The Tai Chi dragon coil circled around him, and the 5 elements grindstone hovered above him. At this moment, Wang Xian unleashed most of his trump cards and strength, and attacked the old witch. What? The old witch, who was flying in front, suddenly felt a horrifying power attacking her. Her eyes narrowed, and she immediately looked back. Chapter 3650. In her line of sight, a horrifying divine dragon was charging towards her. Upon seeing this horrifying divine dragon, the old witch's pupils constricted and her face was filled with shock. Dragon King of Dragon Palace. She let out a low growl and the tattoo on her face flew out, forming a powerful mask array in front of her. The array formation in the shape of a mask exuded a strange energy, as if it wanted to suck everything into this strange mass. Old thing, how dare you kill my doppelgangers and attack me? Today will be the day you die. Upon seeing this mask array, Wang Xian waved his dragon claws and an illusory 5 elements grindstone appeared in front of him and charged towards the mask array. Boom! A horrifying collision was heard and the mask array was instantly destroyed by Wang Xian. Swoosh! The unbeginning sacred wings flapped and Wang Xian continued his attack on the old witch at a terrifying speed. The old witch's speed was much slower than Wang Xian's. There were 2 types of sorcerers. Sorcerers who specialized in formations and sorcerers who modified their bodies. The old witch had lived for a long time and was basically involved in both types of sorcerers. However, her forte was still in formations. In terms of physical body, she was only comparable to the top experts in the Invincible domain. This was already considered very strong. However, in Wang Xian's eyes, she was much weaker. Sorcerers who specialized in formations were most afraid of close-range combat. They were most afraid of experts who excelled in speed. Wang Xian's speed happened to be the old witch's greatest counter. How did the Dragon King catch up to me so quickly? And how did he know my position? When the old witch saw Wang Xian charging towards her, her old and wrinkled face was filled with fear. As a sorcerer, she would never leave behind any traces or aura wherever she went. It was impossible for others to track her. However, the Dragon King had locked onto her so quickly. This surprised and shocked her. 9 tentacles, get lost. The old witch saw Wang Xian appearing in front of her in an instant. Her pupils were twitching wildly as she roared eerily. This was because the tattoo on her face had disappeared. At this moment, her nose and mouth had disappeared and she looked extremely horrifying. Behind her, 9 sticky tentacles suddenly emerged and swept towards Wang Xian. Ah! Tragic cries could be heard coming from the tentacles. Vaguely, one could see that there were desolate beasts that looked like long snakes sealed on these tentacles. The power of each tentacle was no weaker than a third-order universe sovereign realm expert. 9 dragons clone. Wang Xian flapped his wings. 9 clones appeared around him in an instant, and each of them attacked one of the tentacles. Ah! Roars and screams intertwined with each other. The 9 dragon clones tore at the old witch's tentacles. Ah! These 9 tentacles were the modifications that the old witch had made to her physical body. Just based on the strength of her physical body, there was a huge gap between her and Wang Xian's strength. 9 tentacles under the attack of the 9 dragon clones. It began to rapidly collapse and fracture. Wang Xian revealed a cold smile as his dragon claws clawed at the old witch. Shadow array. The old witch saw her 9 tentacles being easily defeated. His expression changed drastically. He roared loudly. The tattoo on his body. Once again, it slowly separated from his body. His figure began to turn illusory. Huh! Wang Xian saw his figure disappearing mysteriously. His eyes turned cold. Searching the void. Great mighty heavenly dragon, he roared softly. In the sky above, a humongous divine dragon appeared and locked on to the old witch's figure. It attacked her directly. However, the illusory figure of the old witch disappeared completely. She disappeared from Wang Xian's sight. The great mighty heavenly dragon did not stop its attack when its target disappeared. Instead, it changed its target to the void on the right. It attacked at a terrifying speed. Wang Xian flapped his unbeginning saint wings and chased after it. This old witch really has some ability. She can imprint a formation on her body and activate it in an instant. The formation just now should be a void-shifting formation. It can teleport a very long distance in an instant. I recommend this app that I've been using recently. It supports both Android and Apple phones. Wang Xian sensed the old witch's position through the power of searching the void. Following the great mighty heavenly dragon's attack, he flew to the right. The Dharma laws of law of the great mighty heavenly dragon's speed of attack was terrifying. It was like following closely behind. According to his senses, the old witch was 1 minute away from him. This distance was already extremely far. If Wang Xian did not have the ability to searching the void, he would have been able to escape with this move. Damn Dragon King! How dare you force me to use up a large number of arrays on my body? Once I return to my lair, I'll make you wish you were dead. Far away in the void on the right, the old witch growled in a low voice with a ferocious look on her face. She looked ahead and quickly flew in the direction of her lair. Her speed was still much slower than Wang Xian's. However, this was her limit. Old witch, do you think you can escape? 2 minutes later, a voice suddenly reverberated through the void. What? When the old witch heard this voice, her pupils shrank slightly. Her face was filled with shock as she immediately looked behind her. Boom! In her line of sight, the illusory figure formed by the energy that attacked her just now was chasing after her rapidly. Behind her, the Dragon King followed closely. How can you still lock onto my position? I've clearly placed your flesh and blood back into the Holy Kingdom. How can you still lock onto me? The old witch stared at Wang Xian as she let out a sharp questioning voice. As a powerful sorcerer, she was best at eliminating traces. Wherever she passed, wherever she went, there was not the slightest trace left behind. Under such circumstances, how could she still be locked onto? Old thing, I've already said that you're going to die. Swoosh. Wang Xian flapped his unbeginning sacred wings and appeared before her instantly. Roar roar. The great mighty heavenly dragon also charged towards the old witch. Eye of Void. Void array formation. The old witch's expression changed slightly. On her back, lines of tattoos surged towards her pupils. The old witch's surroundings were like a bubble, surrounding him. The great mighty heavenly dragon attacked her. However, when it came before her and stretched out its dragon claws, the dragon claws passed directly and did not touch her. Wang Xian looked over and raised his eyebrows slightly. This array is somewhat similar to the Tai Chi dragon's yin-yang space. However, this will only allow you to live a little longer, Wang Xian said coldly. With a swift move, he appeared in front of the old witch and locked his eyes on her. Chapter 3651, You damned Dragon King, I'll kill you. I'll kill you. The old witch looked at Wang Xian standing in front of her with a hideous expression. In her pupils, lines of words were flickering continuously. A unique and creepy array was released from her pupils. Hehe, old thing, I'd like to see where you can escape to. Wang Xian stared at her emotionlessly and said sarcastically, Trying to kill me? Impossible. The old witch stared at him hatefully. She turned around and continued to escape. Wang Xian swung his dragon claws but passed through her body easily. He couldn't hurt her physical body at all. Old thing, do you think I can't do anything to you just because you're hiding in this special space? Wang Xian moved and flew side by side with the old witch. However, the old witch seemed to be in another space and Wang Xian couldn't touch her at all. Cough cough cough, Dragon King. I'll let you know the consequences of offending a powerful sorcerer. The old witch turned around and roared with a hideous expression. Hee hee. Wang Xian chuckled. He clenched his dragon claws and the shadows of the two divine dragons, light and dark, gradually condensed on it. He slammed it heavily towards the space where the old witch was at. Wang. As the dragon claws slammed over, the entire space shook. Ka. At this time, The sound of glass shattering was heard and the old witch's figure became more and more real. You can actually break this space of mine. The old witch stared at Wang Xian with a tinge of despair in her eyes. I'll return your flesh and blood to you. I won't curse you. Let me go. She stared at Wang Xian and shouted in a deep voice. What right do you have to negotiate with me now? Wang Xian's dragon claws slowly reached into the collapsing space and grabbed at the old witch. The dragon claws were filled with the deathly stillness of the 5 elements and the creepiness of yin and yang. This body of mine is only one of them. If you kill this body of mine, my other body will curse you and kill you. You will suffer endless attacks. Let me go, and I will return your flesh and blood doppelganger to you. I will never attack you again. The old witch's expression changed slightly when she saw the dragon claw grab her, and she shouted loudly, "More than one body? The strength of this body of yours is slightly weaker than that of the insane devil seal, but it should still take up a large portion of your strength. Do you think I'm someone you can kill or abandon whenever you want?" Wang Xian grabbed the body of the old witch with his dragon claws and stared at her coldly. Cough cough cough, cough cough, if you kill this body of mine, I won't rest until I'm dead. I will let you experience the terror of a magus. The old witch threatened ferociously. Bam! As soon as she finished her sentence, Wang Xian clenched his dragon claws and the destructive force attacked her vitality, killing her instantly. Dragon King, I want you dead. The moment this body died. Somewhere in the Invincible domain. In a small forest, there was a small house in the middle of the forest. The mournful voice came from the house. The hut didn't look big. However, the space inside was tens of thousands of kilometers. In the small house, there were many bottles and jars on the table. Inside these bottles and jars, different colors, all kinds of strange creature limbs. In the middle, there were special strips of cloth. On the cloth strips, there were patterns of arrays. And in the middle of these cloth strips, there was an old witch sitting with her legs crossed. The cloth strips were connected to her body, as though they were sealing herself. This was an ability of the old witch to fight against her inner demons. She couldn't control her powerful strength. She had divided her body into 2. This body suppressed this place and sealed it with a seal to prevent the 2 bodies from merging. Although her strength would double after the merging, she would also lose her sanity. Now that the other body was dead, this body would be the only body of the old witch. The array lines on the surrounding cloth strips surged towards her body. With the death of the other body, she didn't have to worry too much about this body. Gradually, a horrifying aura came from this body of the old witch. She moved her palm and a meatball that contained dragon might appeared in front of her and floated in the air. I'll use the evilest curse to make you suffer the most painful attack. Dragon King, I'll make you pay 1,000 times the price. The old witch murmured as she started to set up the array with a hideous face. She wanted to use the curse sorcery to make the Dragon King surrender and even die. This old thing is courting death. This body is dead, but she obviously has other bodies. Wang Xian kept the old witch's body into the dragon palace and sensed it with his mind. His figure moved and he continued to fly forward. He could feel the piece of flesh and blood in his body. Wang Xian flew at his fastest speed. Under the explosive power, he could feel that he was getting closer and closer to that piece of flesh and blood. Wang, however, after flying for 2 hours, he suddenly sensed that a great terror was about to befall him. Cough cough cough, Dragon King, embrace your fear. A familiar voice suddenly sounded in Wang Xian's mind. He focused his eyes and stopped in his tracks. Wang. The Tai Chi dragon plate appeared and the yin-yang space gradually shrouded Wang Xian. In this space, Wang Xian could isolate all attacks and curses. Pa pa pa. At this moment, Wang Xian saw drops of blood falling around the yin-yang space, making sounds like raindrop. Wong 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 wong. Soon, the sound of raindrops disappeared and was replaced by a sound that was filled with magic. This sound was incomparably creepy, full of charm and attraction, as though it could penetrate the defense of the Tai Chi dragon plate. This made Wang Xian's expression change slightly. At this moment, a majestic dragon roar was heard and a sacred dragon might pressed down on him. As the sound rang in his ears, Wang Xian looked around and saw cracks on the yin-yang space. What a strong and creepy curse sorcery, Wang Xian murmured as he lifted his head slowly. He seemed to be able to see a pair of hideous faces staring at him. Old thing, it's useless. As he spoke, he continued to fly forward. Defensive treasure. What a powerful defensive treasure. To think that it could withstand my curse. Dragon King, you are strong, but you have met me. You are going to die. You are going to die. When the old witch saw Wang Xian fending off her killing curse, she waved her arm. Clatter. The sound of bottles colliding could be heard as dozens of bottles came to her. She opened the bottles and poured the liquids and creepy items in them in front of her. Drops of liquids and pieces of creepy items fused together and formed the shape of a little ghost. But soon, the little ghost turned illusory. The old witch placed the flesh and blood of Wang Xian's doppelganger in front of the little ghost. Chapter 3652, Gulp. The illusory little ghost swallowed Wang Xian's flesh and blood and gradually transformed into Wang Xian's appearance. Cough, cough, cough. Let's see how you're going to dodge this attack of flesh and blood. The old witch stared at the little ghost in Wang Xian's appearance with a fierce look in her eyes. She quickly drew a complicated array, and the little ghost in the array gradually disappeared. In the invincible domain, Wang Xian was rushing towards the old witch's nest when he suddenly felt something. Out of nowhere, Wang Xian felt that his flesh and blood had increased. The extra flesh and blood did not have any resistance to him, as though it was originally a part of his body. The sudden change made Wang Xian's eyes twitch. He suddenly had a bad feeling. However, the extra piece of flesh and blood had completely merged with his body, and he could not expel it. What's going on? Could it be a curse? A curse that directly attacks the source of the physical body. Wang Xian's eyes narrowed, and he had a bad feeling. Thump, thump. The next moment, he felt his heart thumping violently. Wang. Shadow Dragon Doppelganger. Wang Xian felt a great horror descending on his body. Without any hesitation, he immediately cast the law of Dharma form that he had comprehended from this breakthrough. Shadow Dragon Doppelganger. This was a life-saving ability. By splitting a body, he could withstand a fatal attack. Die, die, die. The moment Wang Xian's Shadow Dragon Doppelganger was cast, a sinister roar came from his original body. The sound came from his physical body, but he could not find where it came from. It was as though the physical body was making the sound automatically. In his sight, Wang Xian's physical body was slowly disintegrating and dissipating. What a strong curse, and what a strange curse. It directly affects the physical body, and even the Tai Chi dragon coil can't withstand it. It's a good idea to spread the news, and it's worth it. After all, he could read books in his memory and read them offline. Seeing this, Wang Xian's pupils constricted slightly. He revealed a vigilant look, and with a thought, the dark ghost doppelganger appeared beside him. Of the 4 nether ghost doppelgangers, the last one had reached Wang Xian's current realm through the progenitor tree. The attack just now was extremely bizarre. Wang Xian wasn't sure if there would be more. If there was more, he could try transferring it to the dark ghost clone. Time ticked by. After confirming that there were no more curse attacks, Wang Xian made a move and continued flying towards the old witch's nest. Is he dead? At the same time, in the old witch's small house in the forest, the old witch sensed the collapse of the piece of flesh and muttered to herself. With the Dragon King's background, he should have a treasure that can resurrect him. He should not be dead. I need to take advantage of this time to recover my strength. The old witch muttered to herself. Was this the most powerful curse? He didn't want to kill the Dragon King. Did she understand? Such a powerhouse must have a way to revive and save his life. However, as long as she could severely injure the Dragon King, her goal would be accomplished. She was also heavily injured. His strength was less than half of his peak. However, she didn't leave this place to recover her strength. This was her nest, and she had set up many arrays here. Now, even if she was severely injured, in her own nest, with the power of her nest, she could also unleash her peak strength outside. On the other hand, once she left this place, her strength would be equivalent to half of her peak strength. Therefore, it would be safer in her nest. The old witch waved her arm, and some bottles and jars flew in front of her. She absorbed them rapidly. Just as she was recovering, Wang Xian was still rushing towards her at high speed. The shadow dragon doppelganger had been activated and could withstand a fatal attack. Within a short period of time, at least for the next 3 days, he couldn't use this move again. Wang Xian didn't wait for the shadow dragon doppelganger to recover before continuing his journey. Now, the old witch had suffered heavy injuries. This was the best time to kill the old witch. Once the old witch recovered to her peak, what if she hid in her own nest? It would be extremely difficult for Wang Xian to kill her. To attack the nest of a powerful sorcerer, the crazy old witch could take on 3, 4, or even 5. With such strength, Wang Xian couldn't kill her. Now was the best time. The old witch's nest didn't seem far to Wang Xian. After 10 hours, he stopped as he sensed something. The old witch's nest should be up ahead. There must be a large number of arrays set up in her nest, including illusory arrays, defensive arrays, offensive arrays, and creepy arrays. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. He concealed all his energy and flew forward. Soon, a small forest appeared in his sight. The forest wasn't very big, only about 10 million kilometers wide. There were some trees planted in this void forest, and Wang Xian could recognize them. Bamboo. In the sky above the forest, a small hut floated. The hut wasn't big, and it looked extremely quaint. This forest, together with a small wooden hut, looked extremely creepy. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he continued to approach. Swoosh swoosh. When Wang Xian approached the small forest, the trees inside suddenly moved without any wind. This made his eyes narrow. Roar. Suddenly, a roar was heard from within the small forest, and the surrounding wind blew violently. Within the forest, a patch of trees emitted green light, and the light condensed into the shape of a wind demon. The wind demon was vivid and lifelike. A pair of cold and violent eyes locked onto Wang Xian. Such strong observation skills. I'm still a distance away from the forest, and yet I've been discovered in an instant. No wonder you're the strongest sorcerer in the Invincible domain. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes, and similarly, a violent look appeared in his eyes. Today, I'm going to barge into your nest. Roar. A violent roar came from his mouth, and Wang Xian transformed into his divine dragon form. The Tai Chi dragon plate floated around him, forming a terrifying defense. Boom. The 5 elements grindstone appeared and floated above his head. Brown energy shrouded Wang Xian completely. Wung wung. In the next instant, 4 doppelgangers of Nether Ghost appeared around Wang Xian. Defense. Break the demon. Lingling appeared beside Wang Xian's dragon head, and gently waved the water lotus staff in her hand. Layers of defense fell on Wang Xian. Swoosh. The unbeginning saint wings flapped, and Wang Xian stared at the small hut in the forest. With extreme speed, he dashed towards it. Roar. Roar. The crazy demon stared at Wang Xian, and instantly attacked. The surroundings of the small hut in the forest seemed to have awakened, and a terrifying energy was brewing. Chapter 3653. What? Someone dares to invade my lair. Who is it? The Dragon King? The moment the spirit array around the hut was triggered, the old witch in the hut opened her eyes and looked outside with an awful look. When she saw that familiar figure, the old witch's expression became even more unsightly. She stood up slowly. The roof and the surroundings of the hut were flattened and formed a wooden board floating in the air. The old witch moved her palm and a staff with a 9-headed snake on it flew to her. She raised the staff and stared at Wang Xian, who was charging towards her. Devil Array, open. Succubus Array, open. Upper 9 Hidden Sky Array, open. 9 Beast Sky Devouring Snake Array, open. Earth as 8 Direction Array, open. Open, open, open. The old witch held the 9-headed snake staff and roared with a cold voice. Her blood-red eyes stared at Wang Xian. Rumble, rumble, rumble. With every sound she made, the surroundings of the hut in the forest shook violently. The entire void seemed to have undergone a huge change. It was as though he was in a special realm where all kinds of demons and ghosts appeared. Black fog shrouded him. Pairs of blood-red eyes appeared in the fog. Frenzied wild beasts appeared in the surroundings. All kinds of spirit arrays rose and each of them was incomparably terrifying. They shrouded towards Wang Xian. At this moment, Wang Xian unleashed all his defenses. 5 elements grindstone, Tai Chi dragon coil, nether ghost doppelganger, lingling. He used all his trump cards and stacked all his defenses. To Wang Xian, as long as he could get close to her, he would be able to kill her. Therefore, he couldn't fight her. He had to get close to her as soon as possible, and then kill her. For this, Wang Xian used all his trump cards. How strong was Wang Xian's trump cards combined? He relied on the unbeginning Saint Wings, which was comparable to the crazed demon seal. The Tai Chi dragon coil and the unbeginning Saint Wings were comparable to 2 crazed demon seals. 4 nether ghost doppelganger were stronger than 1 crazed demon seal, and lingling. Wang Xian's current strength was comparable to 6 experts at the level of crazed demon seal. Even if the old witch wasn't injured and could control the array in her lair, she wouldn't be a match for Wang Xian. Of course, if the old witch was at her peak, it would be extremely difficult for Wang Xian to kill her in her lair. Now was his chance. Wang Xian did not want such a strange opponent and enemy to live for too long. With all the defense on his body, Wang Xian swayed his huge dragon body and charged towards the small house in the forest. When the wind demon charged over, it was crushed by Wang Xian's defense and terrifying speed. The black fog around them and the pupil within the black fog appeared. The dark ghost clone also released a blood-red pupil as it stared at the black fog. It directly caused it to collapse. Ao. A 9-headed serpent appeared in front of them. One by one, hideous heads charged towards Wang Xian to bite him. Bam bam bam. But, under Wang Xian's absolute defense, the head of the huge snake collided with it and started to crumble. The trees at noon in the cabin in the woods. Stretch out demonic branches. They wrapped around Wang Xian. But it was all useless. The bamboos transformed into terrifying weapons. They engulfed him. Bam bam bam. Only violent collisions could be heard. The bamboos broke one by one and fell into the void. All the attacks were blocked by Wang Xian's layers of defense. What a strong defense. Also, how can he have 4 dark ghost clones? Is this a special talent of the Nether clan? How can the Dragon King control the dark ghost clones? That's the companion spirit of the fairies. Why does the Dragon King have so many trump cards? In the small house in the woods, the old witch's expression changed drastically when she saw Wang Xian charging towards her with an indomitable will. Dark ghost clones. Companion spirits. These were the talents and treasures of other pinnacle races. The Dragon King also had them. Moreover, he had set up over a dozen powerful arrays around his lair. They couldn't stop the Dragon King's attack. Even though he was only at half of his peak, he wasn't afraid of facing other crazy demons, or even 2, when all the arrays were activated. But now, his arrays couldn't do anything to the Dragon King. The last layer of defense around him was still intact. How can an expert at the level of a universe supremacy explode with such terrifying strength? Even if it's a treasure that stabilizes one's mind, it shouldn't be this strong. The old witch roared in disbelief. Wang Xian stared at the old witch, his eyes filled with murderous intent. I told you, if you want to die, I won't let you live, he said coldly. No. I haven't broken through to the Universe Lord realm. I haven't taken the final step. I don't want to die. The old witch looked at Wang Xian's invincible aura and roared crazily. She had cultivated for more than 10 billion years to reach this stage. Her lifelong wish was to break through to the Universe Lord realm and even become her inner demon. She wasn't willing to die now. She could die without regrets, but she had yet to see her own Tao. If you don't want to die, you have to die too. Wang Xian's dragon claws clawed at her, and the defensive arrays around her collapsed rapidly. The old witch's eyes widened as she watched this scene, her body trembling violently. I'm willing to submit. I'm willing to submit to you, Dragon King. Don't kill me. Suddenly, the old witch roared with a terrified expression. Huh! Wang Xian heard her. He raised his eyebrows slightly. He ordered the 5 elements grindstone to float above the old witch's head and stared at her. Submit. He sized up the old witch and asked plainly. Yes, I submit. I haven't broken through and I haven't become the universe lord. I submit. I want to become the universe lord. The old witch screamed at the top of her lungs. Becoming the universe lord was her life's obsession. All right, devour this drop of blood essence and enter my dragon palace. After that, summon your god nation into the dragon palace. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and instructed. All right. The old witch answered immediately without any hesitation. The old witch's submission had indeed surprised Wang Xian. Generally speaking, it would be extremely difficult to make someone of this level submit to them. This should have something to do with her obsession. Her lifelong wish is to reach the Universe Lord realm. Since she hasn't achieved it, she naturally doesn't want to die. Hee hee. Wang Xian chuckled. The old witch was definitely a terrifying existence, especially her curses and arrays. Even Wang Xian had to give it his all. If such an existence could be subdued, it would be a significant boost to the Dragon Palace. At the same time, it could also provide the Dragon Palace with a huge amount of knowledge regarding sorcerers. Chapter 3654, Wang. The old witch absorbed Wang Xian's blood essence and was sent to the Dragon Palace by Wang Xian. She then summoned her holy kingdom to the Dragon Palace. This was equivalent to Wang Xian's Dragon Palace suppressing the old witch's holy kingdom, in addition to the control of the divine dragon blood essence. Unless the old witch's strength far exceeded Wang Xian's, her life would always be in the hands of Wang Xian. Greetings, Dragon King. After summoning it again, the old witch bowed to Wang Xian with great respect. Her life was in the hands of Wang Xian. She naturally knew what she had to do. I have a healing treasure here. Let's recover first. Wang Xian waved his palm and a large amount of vitality fluid appeared in front of him. Vitality fluid, the vitality fluid of the fairies. The old witch's eyes lit up when she saw it. She quickly bowed and expressed her gratitude. Thank you, Dragon King. Dragon King, I can't fully recover my strength now. I need to split another body to carry my strength. Otherwise, once I recover to my peak, I will lose my mind and become a war machine. It will be very troublesome to recover again. She lifted her head and continued to speak to Wang Xian. Okay. Wang Xian nodded slightly. He hesitated for a moment before waving his palm and eternal pregnancy fruits appeared in his hand. While you are recovering, consume the eternal pregnancy fruits to strengthen your mind. Let's see if it can resolve the situation of you turning into a demon, he instructed the old witch. Thank you, Dragon King. Thank you, Dragon King. The old witch looked at the hundreds of eternal pregnancy fruits in front of her with a passionate look in her eyes. Hundreds of eternal pregnancy fruits of the pinnacle of the universe venerable realm were extremely valuable. The old witch waved her palm and the vitality fluid beside her surged into her body. The vitality fluid was a treasure of the fairies. It was a healing treasure formed by the condensation of the moonlight gulf of the ancient pond. As a treasure of a pinnacle race, its effects were naturally powerful. It was a piece of cake for the old witch to recover from her injuries. A large amount of vitality fluid surged into her body, causing her aura to rise rapidly. Wang Xian was a little surprised at the speed of her strength increase. Wang. When her strength increased to a certain level, the old witch's expression began to distort and turn hideous. Her body trembled violently and her energy began to go out of control. She hurriedly consumed the eternal pregnancy fruits one by one. After swallowing the eternal embryo fruits one by one, her aura stabilized once again. His strength continued to rise. Whenever she couldn't control herself, she would take the eternal pregnancy fruit. If one consumed too many eternal pregnancy fruits, the effects would be greatly reduced. But lowering was one thing. After all, it was useful. With time, the old witch is getting stronger and stronger. He was much stronger than when Wang Xian fought him. Dragon King, if I want to recover to my peak without losing control, I might need hundreds of eternal pregnancy fruits. Taking the eternal embryo fruit to the end, the effect will be very little, said the old witch to Wang Xian after more than 10 hours. Nothing. Continue to take it. With a flick of his palm, Wang Xian took out another 100 eternal pregnancy fruit. Although the value of the everlasting pregnancy fruit was very high, he had too many of them. Even if he had to consume 200 eternal pregnancy fruits. An old witch in exchange for peak power? It was worth it. If the old witch could maintain her rationality, coupled with her strongest power, there wouldn't be many who could be her opponent in the entire invincible domain. The old witch continued to level up. Wang Xian watched quietly from the side. Following which, another 100 eternal pregnancy fruits were consumed. The old witch's strength was gradually reaching her strongest state. In the past, she would lose her rationality in such a state. She would become a crazy demon. But now, she could still maintain her rationality. I feel that my mind is very clear. I feel that I will be able to break through to the Universe Lord realm soon. I'm going to break through. I'm going to break through. At this time, the old witch suddenly roared with excitement. She looked at her own body and tears welled up in her eyes. She saw the cultivation path ahead of her and the way to break through the shackles. You're confident of breaking through? Wang Xian was taken aback as he looked at the old witch in surprise. Yes, Dragon King. Yes. My mind is very clear now, and I'm also very clear about my future cultivation. I feel that I have great confidence in breaking through the shackles. Maybe it won't take much money for me to break through completely, the old witch said with an excited expression. Oh, that's good. Wang Xian was also a little surprised. Once the old witch broke through, it would be equivalent to having another Universe Lord realm expert in the Dragon Palace. And once the old witch broke through, she would probably have the strength of a second-order Universe Lord. She would definitely be a great help. This kind of breakthrough should belong to breaking through with strength. My strength is already strong enough. In the past, my mind couldn't keep up and I couldn't find a way to break through. Now that my mind is stable, I can see the cultivation path ahead. Coupled with my powerful strength, I can definitely break through the realm by force, said the old witch excitedly. She knelt in front of Wang Xian and said, "Thank you, Dragon King, for your help. Wu Shuo is very grateful. I'll serve you with the rest of my life. Get up. This is also your own good fortune." Wang Xian was in a good mood as he nodded with sparkling eyes. It wasn't easy to produce an expert in the Universe Lord realm. Even the experts of Dragon Palace were shocked. After cultivating to the pinnacle of the Universe Lord realm, they also needed to comprehend and find the opportunity to break through. Even if the Dragon Palace had a heaven-defying treasure like the advancement seed, it could only produce one in 1,000,000 years. 1,000,000 years for an expert of the Dragon Palace to break through. If the Dragon Palace wanted to be truly strong, they still needed to cultivate themselves. Let's go. Follow me and sweep the entire invincible domain, said Wang Xian to the old witch with a smile. The old witch bowed her body and stood beside him. It was a complete surprise that he had subdued the old witch. Next, he was prepared to continue selling eternal pregnancy fruits. Wang Xian brought the old witch along and flew towards the trading center. As Wang Xian was rushing over, the battle between him and the old witch had caused a huge commotion in the trading center and the invincible domain. The old witch has captured the Dragon King's doppelganger. She wants to use the art of curse to make the Dragon King surrender to her and hand over the eternal pregnancy fruits. I wonder if she will succeed. The old witch is the strongest sorcerer in the invincible domain. If she uses witchcraft to deal with the Dragon King in her lair, the Dragon King will be in deep trouble. He won't even have the chance to fight back. I think the Dragon King is going to be unlucky. After all, it's the old witch who did it. Yeah, she's the old witch after all. Her strength is much stronger than the crazy demon seal. Who can withstand her long-range curse? Chapter 3655. The experts around the trading center of the invincible domain were discussing in shock. The old witch's strength was considered very strong even among the crazed demons. Especially since the old witch has a handle on you, and a doppelganger was the biggest weakness of a curse sorcerer. When a terrifying curse sorcerer cursed you in her own lair, you wouldn't be able to resist at all, because you wouldn't even know how to resist. In the face of endless curses, who could resist? Even the Dragon King couldn't do it, right? Swish, swish, swish. That Dragon King seems to be targeted by the old witch. Around the trading center, a group of more than 10 angels flew over. When they heard the discussions around them, they raised their eyebrows slightly. Sir, not long ago, the Dragon King's doppelganger was killed by the old witch. She wants to curse him. We don't know the details yet, but some curious experts are flying towards the old witch's lair to check it out. A subordinate of an angel expert respectfully reported. Oh. The experts from the angel tribe raised their eyebrows slightly. I don't want the Dragon King to die in the hands of the old witch. The Dragon King has a lot of everlasting fruit in his hands. If we can capture the Dragon King, those everlasting fruits might be ours. We might even have a chance to obtain the everlasting fruit tree, an angel expert said plainly. Although the Dragon King is strong, he has a lot of treasures in his hands. Let's wait for the news. Whether he dies or not, it's good news for us. Yes, even if he doesn't die, he's probably injured by the old witch's attack. Several angels were chatting amongst themselves. Look, the Dragon King is here. He's really here. That's not right. It's not the Dragon King's real body. It's only an ordinary third-order universe lord. It should be his doppelganger. Why is his doppelganger back? What's going on? What's going on between the Dragon King and the old witch? At this time, the surrounding people exclaimed in surprise. Everyone around the trading center looked over, and their eyes were filled with shock. They saw a doppelganger flying towards the trading center and looking around with a smile on his face. The doppelganger came to the trading center. With a wave of his palm, an eternal pregnancy fruit appeared in front of him. Continue the transaction, the same price as before. As he spoke, all the old monsters around him heard him clearly. The Dragon King has settled the matter with the old witch and is now back to sell the eternal pregnancy fruit. It can't be. The Dragon King should have solved the problem of the old witch. What about the old witch? In the surroundings, some of the old monsters were discussing in shock. The old witch wanted to deal with the Dragon King, but the Dragon King had returned in just a few days. Thus, he used his doppelganger to continue selling the eternal pregnancy fruit. He had solved the problem with the old witch. Or was there something else? Although the crowd of old monsters was shocked, many old monsters who did not manage to purchase the eternal pregnancy fruit still went over to trade with the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. This time, some of the old monsters who originally had their own thoughts. He also restrained his thoughts. Even some of the stronger teams were looking at Wang Xian with flickering eyes, not daring to act recklessly. Everyone knows the old witch's strength. He took away the Dragon King's avatar. How could a sorcerer do that? This was already a great advantage. What if they couldn't do anything to the Dragon King, and he wasn't even injured? What about the Dragon King's strength? He was too strong. Initially, some teams were prepared to join forces to deal with Wang Xian. Now, they had to reconsider. Time ticked by. Wang Xian continued to sell the eternal pregnancy fruit. This allowed him to reap more and more reward. On the 5th day, a piece of news spread and caused a huge uproar. Some old monsters from the Invincible domain went to the old witch's lair to check it out. In the end, they saw a shocking piece of news. The old witch's lair, the hut in the forest in the Invincible domain, it was in ruins and basically destroyed. Surrounding. Obviously, there had been an intense battle that destroyed the entire hut in the forest. The old witch's lair was destroyed, and the old witch was nowhere to be seen. Now, the Dragon King had appeared in the trading center. What did this mean? Could the old witch have been killed by the Dragon King? How is this possible? That's the old witch, the strongest sorcerer in the Invincible domain. In her lair, shouldn't she be the strongest existence in the Invincible domain? Yet, the old witch's lair was destroyed. How strong is he? Could the old witch have been killed by him? Crazy Demon Seal and the old witch, this Dragon King has killed 2 crazy demons from our Invincible domain. This is unimaginable. How strong would the old witch be in her lair? Could she go against 3 or 4 crazy demons? Yet, she was destroyed by the Dragon Palace. She might have been killed by the Dragon King. At this moment, All the experts and old monsters from the Invincible domain were completely shocked. The old witch's lair was destroyed. She was the strongest sorcerer in the Invincible domain. In her lair, she was almost the strongest existence in the Invincible domain. Yet, the fate of such an existence was unknown. This was obviously done by the Dragon King. How strong was the Dragon King? Unimaginable. The old witch's lair was destroyed, and she might have been killed by the Dragon King. When the dozen angels from the angel tribe heard this news, their eyes narrowed and their faces were filled with shock. Isn't his strength too insane? Such strong strength. Are we strong enough to destroy the Dragon King? One of the angels could not help but ask. They had a powerful angel army. They even had 500 third-order universe sovereigns. But the strength displayed by the Dragon King made them doubt if they could kill the Dragon King with just the angel army alone. We need to investigate the situation. If the Dragon King is really that strong, we need to report this matter to the third prince. One of the experts from the angel tribe said. The strength displayed by the Dragon King was too strong. Third-order universe sovereigns were required to deal with a true first-order universe sovereign. At least 30 of them were needed. And a mad devil could easily kill a first-order sovereign realm existence. That Dragon King was able to kill the old witch who could go against 3 or 4 crazy demons in her lair. To them, it would be extremely difficult to kill the Dragon King with their current strength. Of course, this was under the premise that the old witch was killed by the Dragon King. I really don't understand. How could the Dragon King be so monstrous? The group of experts from the angel tribe sighed in their hearts. If the old witch was dead, then the Dragon King would have killed 2 crazy demons from the Invincible domain. Chapter 3656. The news that the old witch was suspected to have been killed by the Dragon King had caused a huge uproar. However, Wang Xian was still in the trading center, carrying out transactions with a smile on his face. Every transaction was a huge haul. Since he came to the Invincible domain, the number of innate spiritual treasures in his hands had reached about 5,000. 5,000 pieces, that was definitely a huge number. For some of the weaker races, an innate spiritual treasure was equivalent to a clan's treasure. However, in the Invincible domain, the weaker ones were stronger than ordinary third-order universe sovereigns. Many experts could easily annihilate a strong race when they went out. Take the 100 Cities Alliance for example. Even the massive 100 Cities Alliance only had 1 third-order universe sovereign. An expert with such strength could casually establish a force or a city outside. They all had many innate spiritual treasures. 5,000 innate spiritual treasures could allow the experts of the Dragon Palace to nurture their own powerful Dragon Ball. For the next month, Wang Xian continued to trade in the trading center. However, as time passed, the number of transactions decreased. After all, there were limited experts in the Invincible domain. Those who could get the news had basically rushed over. As for Wang Xian, he had sold about 1,200 innate spiritual treasures, and the number of innate spiritual treasures had reached 6,000. Experts are getting fewer and fewer now. On the last day, Wang Xian stayed for the whole day, and only one expert came to make a purchase. Basically, it had reached the saturation point. Time to go somewhere else. His gaze swept around as he muttered to himself. The eternal fruit was just an accident. Now, it was time to proceed according to the original plan. His figure moved and he flew straight out. The transaction is complete. If you want to buy eternal fruit in the future, forget it if the quantity is small. But if there are more than 20, you can contact me on the Universe AI. Wang Xian's avatar said and flew in a direction. How many eternal fruit does the Dragon King have? He has sold at least 1,000 in the past month. The Dragon King must have a powerful eternal fruit tree. The eternal fruit is very effective for those top experts. The Dragon King has gotten a lot of innate spiritual treasures this time. He made a killing. The innate spiritual treasures he obtained this time are worth at least 4 or 5 innate cardinal treasures. In the trading center, the group of old monsters and their underlings were discussing Wang Xian's departure. There's the aura of the Dragon King on it. We should be able to find him through this. In a corner of the trading area, An old monster looked at the eternal pregnancy fruit in his hand and looked at his companions beside him. His companions nodded. Let's go. We'll go to the domain of the wild beast astral beast. Are you familiar with Wu Sha? At the same time, not far from the trading center, Wang Xian asked the old witch Wu Sha when he saw his doppelganger had returned. Dragon King, the depths are the territories of the giant beasts of Starry Sky and the wild beasts. They are very powerful, and even I am no match for many of them. Wu Sha stared at the forest on the other side of the river and said, "Oh, even such a powerful star behemoth hasn't made a breakthrough?" Wang Xian revealed a curious look. The powerful giant star beasts should be easier to break through than the experts of other races. There are breakthroughs. Those who break through will break through the space, then leave the invincible domain and head to the mountains and seas. Those who don't break through will continue to stay in this space. Wu Sha said, most of the giant star beasts and wild beasts in the invincible domain are born from the energy of the dead giant star beasts. After they are born, they don't have a race, and it's also natural selection. Therefore, there is no such thing as a powerful giant star beast breaking through and leaving with its tribe. Because they are born from the flesh and blood of the giant star beasts, they have some flaws. These flaws make it very difficult for them to break through. There is a strong competition between the giant star beasts and the wild beasts. They even kill and devour each other. Wang Xian nodded slightly after hearing Wu Sha's introduction. The giant star beasts and the wild beasts on the other side of the river basically don't have any tribes, especially the giant star beasts. They fight on their own. I've been using the reading app recently. There are many sources of books, and the updates are fast. There are strong tribes among the wild beasts, and they are also stronger. Wu Sha added. Alright, do you know where the wild beasts are? Let's go and hunt them. Wang Xian asked her. I know a little. Wu Sha nodded. She moved and led the way into the territory of the giant star beast. When they came to the other side of the river, lush trees grew. Unlike where the old monsters were, this place was full of vitality. Dragon King, in that direction, about a day's flight away, there is a tribe of driftwood winged birds. There are more of them, about 5,000 of them. However, their strength is at the second-order Universe Lord realm. This is the limit of their bloodline growth. Wu Sha pointed in a direction and explained to Wang Xian. More than 5,000 second-order Universe Lord realm wild beasts. Wang Xian's eyes lit up when he heard her. What kind of concept was that? If they could kill all of them, the Dragon Palace could increase the strength of more than 5,000 Universe Lord realm wild beast. The value was insane. Driftwood winged birds are a tribe of wild beasts. They are weak, but there are a lot of them. Once you provoke one, you will be besieged. If more than 5,000 of them attacked at the same time, even I, at my peak, might be killed by them. Therefore, no one in the invincible domain dares to provoke them. Wu Sha continued. Quantitative change led to qualitative change. More than 5,000 second-order Universe Lord realm driftwood winged birds could instantly kill a real Universe Lord. Even a crazy demon would not dare to provoke them. More than 5,000 of them are indeed strong. Wang Xian murmured. If Wu Sha was not around, he would not dare to provoke such a group of wild beast. However, with Wu Sha around, Wang Xian was confident that he could eliminate them. Let's go. Let's speed up. The unbeginning sacred wings flapped and shrouded Wu Sha. Wang Xian brought her along and flew towards the direction of the driftwood winged bird. With his speed, Wang Xian arrived in front of the driftwood winged birds in less than a day. Dragon King, I'll set up an array here. You can lure them over. Let's join forces and annihilate them. The old witch, Wu Sha, looked around and said to Wang Xian. All right. Wang Xian nodded and his eyes were beaming with excitement. Chapter 3657, Wang. Wu Sha began to set up the array. Wang Xian flapped his wings and stood guard around the perimeter. The driftwood winged birds were in front of him. Although they were strong, their individual strength was only at the level of a second-order Universe Lord. This wasn't very strong for Wang Xian. Even when he circled around the driftwood winged bird's territory, they wouldn't be able to sense him. Time ticked by as Wu Sha continued to set up array after array. Setting up powerful array formations required a long time. Some array formations even required powerful materials. Without materials, it couldn't be completed. Wu Sha's old nest, her hut in the forest, had taken billions of years to build. That was why it had the strength to fight against 4 to 5 experts of the same level. Under normal circumstances, it would be difficult for a sorcerer to deal with 2 experts of the same level after a few days of setting up array formations. However, it was enough to deal with these driftwood winged bird. Dragon King is done. 2 trapping arrays and 5 killing arrays, Wu Sha said to Wang Xian 4 days later. All right, wait here. Wang Xian nodded when he heard her. He moved and immediately flew towards the territory of the driftwood winged bird. He was fast and arrived within the territory in an instant. Unlike the surrounding forest, the trees in the territory of the driftwood winged birds were more luxuriant. Even the leaves were connected together, completely covering the area below. On these trees, there was a layer of energy that could block Wang Xian's ability to sense the area below. Whoosh! Crackle! Wang Xian flapped his unbeginning saint wings and gathered the power of wind and thunder. He aimed in a direction and launched an attack. There were many driftwood winged birds and they were very united. Once they were attacked, they would surround and kill in large numbers. When Wang Xian's attack landed, it was like a stone stirring up 1,000 ripples. It was as though countless horrifying existences were awakened under the cover of the leaves. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Chirp, chirp, chirp. In an instant, an unusually ear-piercing sound was heard. The horrifying sound condensed into visible ripples in the void and engulfed Wang Xian. Huh! Feeling the ripples, Wang Xian narrowed his eyes and the Tai Chi dragon plate immediately floated around him. The 5 elements grindstone floated in the air and protected him with waves of energy. At the same time, the saint wings of no beginning flapped violently. What a powerful sound wave, what a terrifying attack. Wang Xian stared ahead in shock. These thousands of driftwood winged birds unleashed this strange sound wave attack at the same time. The sound wave completely fused together. This was equivalent to the combined attack of all the driftwood winged bird. Bam bam bam. As the sound wave attacked, the outermost layer of the earth attribute defense began to distort and collapse. The sound wave continued its assault on Wang Xian. The wind-type energy of the unbeginning saint wings resisted, but it was still defeated. Finally, it landed on the Tai Chi dragon plate, causing the Tai Chi pattern on the Tai Chi dragon plate to slightly deform. However, the sudden attack of the driftwood winged birds was stopped by Wang Xian. No wonder Wu Sha doesn't dare to provoke these people. If she doesn't have enough strength to protect herself, she'll definitely die. Wang Xian stared ahead. In front of him, thousands of driftwood winged birds emerged from the trees below after their attack. Their entire bodies were green and they had fan-like wings. A pair of green eyes stared at Wang Xian as they charged towards him. Chirp, chirp. The driftwood winged birds let out sharp chirps. Below Wang Xian, the trees and leaves seemed to have come alive as they attacked him. Swoosh. Wang Xian looked down and flapped his saint wings of no beginning, easily dodging the attack. Roar, roar. He moved and immediately transformed into his divine dragon body, displaying the true dragon body. True dragon body, fire divine dragon. Roar, roar. He let out a loud roar as flames engulfed the area below him. At the same time, Wang Xian flapped his wings with terrifying flames and stared at the dozens of driftwood winged birds closest to him. Roar, roar. At a terrifying speed, he arrived above the dozens of driftwood winged birds in an instant and the flames descended. Chirp. Tragic cries sounded as dozens of driftwood winged birds were instantly killed by Wang Xian. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Chirp, chirp, chirp. However, the death of dozens of their comrades had triggered the anger of the entire driftwood winged birds tribe. Sharp and angry chirps reverberated. This voice had greatly interfered with Wang Xian. Wang Xian snorted. The Tai Chi dragon coil circled around him to protect him as he shuttled through the air rapidly. His incredible speed prevented the sound wave attacks from focusing on him. Swish. 8 directional dragon pillars. Wang Xian let out a deep roar. Dragon pillars appeared in 8 directions with a divine dragon coiled around them. Boom! Chirp, chirp, chirp. The divine dragons on each dragon pillar launched their attacks. However, close to 5,000 driftwood winged birds flew out from below. They gathered together and spread out their wings. Below them, countless leaves floated up and shone brightly as they retaliated against the 8 directional dragon pillars. Bam, bam! Deafening sounds of collision reverberated as the densely packed leaves smashed the 8 directional dragon pillars and shrouded Wang's yarn. Wang! Wang's yarn moved his palm and the 5 elements grindstone spun, forming waves of destructive aura that struck in one direction. Chirp, chirp. Chirp, chirp, chirp. The 5,000 driftwood winged birds seemed to have sensed the threat from the 5 elements grindstone and let out sharp cries again. Trees flew up from the void as though they had a life of their own. They turned into treants and faced the attack of the 5 elements grindstone. Swish! Wang's yarn made use of this opportunity to flap his unbeginning saint wings. His incredible speed once again gave him a huge advantage. He came to the side of the hundreds of driftwood winged birds in an instant and covered them with his dragon claws. Boom! Chirp, chirp, chirp. The horrifying dragon claws engulfed them. The hundreds of driftwood winged birds shrieked in horror. The powerful force killed them instantly. Chirp, chirp. The remaining driftwood winged birds looked over with reddened eyes. Their wings were like tree branches. The wings of the driftwood winged birds grew longer and coiled together to form a horrifying whip that lashed at Wang's yarn. Boom! The horrifying attack had Wang's yarn dodging to the side immediately. Chirp, chirp. The remaining 2,000 driftwood winged birds flew into the sky and spread their wings. Their wings were like a huge net that entangled with each other as they flew towards Wang's yarn. This joint attack is a little insane. Chapter 3658. Wang's yarn finally understood how terrifying the driftwood winged birds were. The entire race of driftwood winged birds was too good at teamwork. They could stack their strengths together to unleash a terrifying attack. Ear-piercing attack. Long whips gathered together to form a huge net that covered the sky. All sorts of powerful area of effect attacks headed towards Wang's yarn. If Wang's yarn was any weaker or slower, he might really have been killed by the driftwood winged bird. Lure them to where Wushou is. I might need a lot of time to kill them here. Wang's yarn looked at the huge net and long whips that were heading towards him. Wang's yarn could still annihilate this group of wild beasts by himself. However, he might need a lot of time. Swoosh! Swoosh! Wang's yarn swayed his huge body and sent streams of flames towards the flock of driftwood winged bird. At the same time, he flew towards Wushou quickly to avoid the attacks of the driftwood winged birds. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Chirp, chirp, chirp. The entire group of driftwood winged birds roared in anger because of Wang's yarn's attack and the killing of their own kind. They withstood the streaks of flames and chased after Wang's yarn furiously. The place where Wushou had set up the array was very close to the nest of the driftwood winged bird. When Wang's yarn came within the range of the array, he stopped, turned around and waved his dragon claws. The 5 elements grindstone attacked the driftwood winged birds. Chirp, chirp, chirp. The flock of driftwood winged birds let out sharp cries. A green meatball on top of their heads shone with green radiance. The radiance condensed into an extremely sharp phantom of the driftwood winged birds and met the 5 elements grindstone head-on. The driftwood winged birds belonged to the wild beasts of the wood and wind attributes. They had all sorts of attacks. Moreover, this was their territory and they had the geographical advantage. Hee hee. Roar. Roar. Wang's yarn chuckled when he saw them. Following which, he let out a provocative roar and his dragon horns shone brightly. Towering dragon horns. A pair of terrifying divine dragon horns shone brightly and charged towards the driftwood winged birds like a terrifying and unique mountain peak. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The flock of driftwood winged birds flapped their wings and covered their dragon horns with green seeds. When they arrived in front of the towering dragon horn, they instantly turned into monsters that looked like man-eating flowers and swallowed the towering dragon horn. At the same time, they continued to attack Wang's yarn. We've entered the formation. Wang's yarn smiled when he saw the flock of driftwood winged birds entering directly without sensing the surrounding spirit arrays. Dragon King, the driftwood winged birds have entered the perimeter. Please block their path of retreat. Wu Shou's voice rang in Wang Xian's mind. Wang Xian nodded his head. Flapping his unbeginning sacred wings, he pushed his speed to the limit, circled around them, and flew behind them. Chirp chirp. The group of driftwood winged birds locked onto Wang Xian. Their bodies glowed with green light as though they could sense Wang Xian's route. However, just as they were about to make their move, the scenery around them changed drastically. Formation, boundless golden sand burial. Formation, infernal inferno. Formation, black pupil imprisonment. A slightly hoarse voice rang out as Wu Shou appeared in front of them. She held a powerful inborn cardinal treasure magic staff in her hand with 9 snake heads on it. Each of the snake heads emitted a powerful radiance. One by one, the spirit arrays attacked the flock of driftwood winged birds. Each of Wu Shou's array formations could kill a first-order universe sovereign realm existence. With 3 spirit arrays activated at the same time, even the entire flock of driftwood winged birds had to deal with them with all their might. However, they were still dealing with Wang Xian's attack just a second ago. The 5 elements grindstone was still in front of them. At this moment, the 3 terrifying spirit arrays enveloped them. Chirp chirp. At this moment, the flock of driftwood winged birds cried out in panic. Their eyes were filled with panic. Inborn technique. Wang Xian had already arrived behind the flock of driftwood winged birds. When he saw this scene, he stared at the 5 elements grindstone and let out a low roar. Inborn technique. The powerful attack of the 5 elements grindstone, Wang. In an instant, the entire 5 elements grindstone spun rapidly. The shadows of inborn spiritual treasures attacked the surrounding driftwood winged bird. Thousands of shadows of inborn spiritual treasures exuded a powerful aura. Dragon breath of life. Wang Xian let out a low roar and opened his dragon mouth. A torrent of energy surged forward. 5 terrifying attacks landed on the entire flock of driftwood winged bird. Each of these attacks was comparable to the strongest attack of an expert from the Invincible domain. The attacks launched at the same time were equivalent to the combined attack of 5 crazy demons. 5 crazy demons working together? That was impossible in the Invincible domain. Not to mention 5 crazy demons, even 2 crazy demons working together had never happened before. Once the crazy demons went all out in a battle, they would definitely lose all rationality and only know how to kill. It was impossible for them to work together. Even if they could temporarily suppress their emotions, they wouldn't be able to hold on for long. The flock of driftwood winged birds was strong. However, they were only comparable to 1 or 2 crazy demons. If Wang Xian wasn't afraid of wasting time, he could annihilate them alone. At this moment, 5 attacks landed on the entire flock of driftwood winged birds. Chirp chirp chirp. All the driftwood winged birds let out piercing cries. The sound waves formed by their cries didn't spread out to the surroundings. Instead, they formed a strong defense around them. Chirp chirp chirp. Following which, the branches and leaves shrouded them in the middle. There were close to 5,000 driftwood winged birds stacked on top of each other. The driftwood winged birds on top of each other blocked the attacks first. Wang Xian raised an eyebrow slightly when he saw their defense. Rumble rumble rumble. At this moment, a series of terrifying attacks landed on the flock of driftwood winged birds. The waves of defense and the energy of the branches and leaves crumbled rapidly. However, these layers of defense managed to block the inborn technique and the 2 arrays. However, after the 2 arrays, the over 2,000 driftwood winged birds could only defend with their lives. Rumble. Rumble. Chirp chirp chirp. 2 loud sounds were heard, followed by tragic cries. Chirp chirp chirp. The over 2,000 driftwood winged birds below let out sorrowful cries. Powerful murderous auras were emitted from their bodies. Tempage. Kill them. Wang Xian snorted softly. He swayed his huge dragon body and charged forward. Wu Shou waved her staff and conjured several arrays to attack the flock of driftwood winged birds. Chapter 3659. Out of the original 5,000 driftwood birds, only 2,000 remained. The driftwood winged birds relied on their massive numbers to form powerful attacks. Now, with half of them dead, there were only 2,000 left. These 2,000 driftwood birds posed no threat to Wang Xian and Wu Shuo. Their combined strength was no longer a match for Wang Xian and Wu Shuo. 8 dragons doppelganger. With the attack of Wang Xian's Dharma power, 500 to 600 driftwood birds were easily killed. There was no suspense in the battle that followed. One by one, the driftwood birds were killed. Half an hour later, the last driftwood bird died. Dragon King, the wings of the driftwood birds are useful. They can be used to forge innate spiritual treasure staffs and other wind-attributed treasures. Wu Shuo looked at the carcasses of the driftwood birds and said to Wang Xian, although the value of a driftwood bird's carcass was not as high as an innate spiritual treasure, it was still valuable. 5,000 driftwood winged birds was definitely a huge resource. Wang Xian smiled and nodded. Compared to using them to forge innate spiritual treasures, the driftwood birds were more useful as resources for the Dragon Palace. What did 5,000 second-order universe sovereigns mean to the Dragon Palace? Currently, the Dragon Palace only had about 2,000 experts with the strength of a universe sovereign. Among them, there were about 200 third-order universe sovereigns. This was a strong force. Just the carcasses of the driftwood birds could increase the number of second-order universe sovereigns by 5,000. Or 500 third-order universe sovereigns. This was something that could double Wang Xian's strength, and not just double it. In addition, Wang Xian had killed experts from the Crazy Demon Seal, Skeleton Clan, and Demon Clan in the Invincible domain. There was no need to mention the innate spiritual treasures, not only the carcasses of the driftwood birds, but also their god kingdoms and some treasures. Wang Xian murmured excitedly. He looked at Wu Shuo and said, Wu Shuo, look for the god kingdoms of the driftwood birds. See if they are within their territory. Yes, Dragon King. Wu Shuo nodded and used her sorcery to find the location of their nest. Wang Xian collected all the corpses and threw them into the Dragon Palace. He instructed Prime Minister Turtle to train the disciples of the Dragon Palace. Dragon King, the divine kingdom of the driftwood winged birds is in their nest. Wu Shuo confirmed it before answering Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded his head and flew towards the nest of the driftwood winged birds. The divine kingdom of the driftwood winged bird was a little strange. It looked like a giant bird's nest, similar to a dragon's cave in a dragon palace. But this did not affect the resources of these divine kingdoms. The devouring dragon could devour divine nations to increase its strength. A divine kingdom with roughly 5,000 second-order sovereign realm desolate beasts was enough to boost the devouring dragon's strength. The advancement of the devouring dragon was unlike that of other races. They had inherited the characteristics of the Zergs. As long as they had enough resources, they could continue to improve. They did not have the shackles of the universe ruler realm. However, there was one thing. The devouring dragon could only fight 2 levels higher, which was 1 level weaker than the peak races. Secondly, if he wanted them to possess the strength of a universe ruler, he would have to feed them with the god nation of a universe ruler. This was equivalent to killing a universe ruler realm expert and obtaining a god nation to strengthen them. These harsh conditions were no less stringent than ordinary breakthroughs. In the nest of the driftwood winged birds, Wang Xian also obtained many surprises: powerful trees, divine grass, and divine fruit. As wood-based desolate beasts, these were essential. Let's go to the next place, said Wang Xian to Wu Shuo with a smile after collecting all the treasures in the old nest of the driftwood winged birds. Yes, Dragon King. There's a powerful desolate beast called the phoenix horseshoe crab not far from here. It's extremely powerful, comparable to some of the top old monsters in the Invincible domain. However, it's very cunning and possesses the bloodline of the phoenix. Its vitality is strong and it's very difficult to kill, Wu Shuo introduced to Wang Xian. All right. Wang Xian nodded his head and went on with Wu Shuo to hunt for the next target. 3 days later, they arrived at the territory of the phoenix horseshoe crab. The phoenix horseshoe crab is very cunning. Once it senses danger, it won't come out. I wanted to kill it and extract some of its bloodline. However, once I unleash my powerful strength, I lose my mind and this guy can easily shake me off. Once I split my body, I won't be able to kill it either, Wu Shuo said with a frown. It was obvious that she knew this desolate beast well. Wang Xian nodded his head. Right now, Wu Shuo could kill the desolate beast alone. However, she might have to expend some effort. But with Wang Xian around, everything would be much simpler. Wu Shuo quickly locked onto the phoenix horseshoe crab's location through its aura. Kill it. The phoenix horseshoe crab was a demonic beast with a fire attribute. It hid in the roots of the trees. When it saw Wang Xian and Wu Shuo, it did not hesitate and fled through the intertwining roots. It could sense the threat of death from Wang Xian and Wu Shuo. Crackle. When a lightning bolt landed on it, the power of searching the enemy through the void entered its body. Wang Xian smiled. He flapped his unbeginning sacred wings and gave chase immediately. With his speed, it was impossible for the phoenix horseshoe crab to escape. Under the barrage of energy attacks, Wang Xian was able to kill it easily. Next. After killing the phoenix horseshoe crab, Wang Xian continued to instruct Wu Shuo. With Wu Shuo, who had lived in the invincible domain for billions of years, everything was very simple. Over the next period of time, Wang Xian began to hunt desolate beast. Small groups of desolate beasts and powerful lone desolate beasts. In the next year, Wang Xian hunted. And the rewards were exceptionally bountiful. Desolate beasts with combat strength at the second or third order universe sovereigns were rare in the outside world, unless one went to the Mountain Sea region. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to encounter a desolate beast at the second or third order universe sovereign realm. To the Dragon Palace, this harvest was a huge resource. In this year, more than 100 desolate beasts with level 3 universe sovereigns had died in Wang Xian's hands. As they hunted, they went deeper into the invincible domain. Dragon King, if we go deeper, we will encounter some giant space beasts. Compared to desolate beasts, the giant space beasts in the invincible domain are even more terrifying. The stronger the murderous aura and bloody aura, the more terrifying the strength of the giant space beasts. After a year, Wu Shuo looked around and said to Wang Xian. Chapter 3660. The cosmic beasts in the invincible domain were all rather terrifying. In fact, the cosmic beasts were the pinnacle existences in the universe. Any giant star beast possessed extremely terrifying strength and talent. It was especially so in the land of mountains and seas. In the land of mountains and seas, some powerful cosmic beasts had not even broken through the shackles. In other words, they could easily break through from the universe supremacy realm to the universe lord realm. Kuan was one of them. However, they were not the only ones in the universe. Some terrifying cosmic beasts and experts from the pinnacle races had to flee immediately when they saw them. Kuan, for example, fed on divine dragons and phoenixes. It also liked to devour experts from other pinnacle races. One could imagine how terrifying its strength was if it could devour divine dragons and phoenixes. Let's go hunt the cosmic beasts. Wang Xian said to Wu Shuo. In the current invincible domain, Wang Xian did not think that any cosmic beasts could be his match. With Wu Shuo, he was confident that he could hunt any cosmic beasts. Yes, Dragon King. Wu Shuo nodded her head. With a swift move, she led Wang Xian to the right. Now that they were deep inside, the surrounding trees had already disappeared, and the surrounding void was filled with giant meteorites. Occasionally, they could see some dilapidated buildings in the God Nation. In that direction, there's a star beast called Lava. It's a fire-attributed star beast with an incomparably huge body. In the area where it lives, there are a large number of flaming meteorites. Lava star behemoth strength is similar to that of crazed devil. Wu Shuo explained to Wang Xian as they flew. Wang Xian nodded and continued to fly forward. The temperature was getting higher. Not long after, flaming meteorites appeared in their line of sight. Rumble. Not far away, there was even a sea of flames burning in the void. This is the Sea of Flames. Dragon King, we have stepped into the territory of the lava cosmic beast. There are usually treasures in the Sea of Flames. As Wu Shuo spoke, she moved and flew straight into the Sea of Flames. Wang Xian followed beside her. There really is. At this time, Wu Shuo's eyes lit up as she stared at a fiery red meteorite in the Sea of Flames. This was a very strange fiery red meteorite. Flames were constantly dripping down from the top. The flames dripped onto the fiery red meteorite, forming a small nest. The entire flaming meteor was incomparably brilliant, and it was also blooming with a bright luster. Carnate numinous treasure. Wang Xian looked over and said, "Yes, many carnate numinous treasures are formed naturally. This carnate numinous treasure is not weak." The sorcerer waved his arm and the sorcerer's hand grabbed it and brought it to Wang Xian. "This place is truly a treasure trove. I managed to obtain a carnate spiritual treasure so easily." Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and said, "The place where a star behemoth lives must be a land of treasures. However, in terms of treasures, the greatest treasure in this space is that lava void behemoth," Wu Shuo said as she stared ahead. "We've already entered his domain and taken some things, but the giant lava astral beast hasn't appeared yet. Come on, let's keep looking ahead. Considering the size of star behemoths, it'll be very easy to find them." As Wang Xian spoke, he continued flying forward. After flying for another hour, an incomparably violent sound suddenly rang out. Wang Xian and the rest were taken aback by the sudden roar as they looked ahead in shock. "Huh! That's the furious roar of the lava astral beast. What's going on? Is it a battle between star behemoths, or did other experts step into its domain?" Wu Shuo said. The two of them continued flying forward. Soon, the scene in front of them appeared in Wang Xian's line of sight. "This is..." Wang Xian looked over and saw over 100 experts dressed in black besieging a huge star behemoth. Over 100 experts, even the weakest one was much stronger than an ordinary third-order universe sovereign. Two of them were stronger than Demon King Tai Shui and the rest. Above them, a kettle-like carnate cardinal treasure floated in the air. The water in the kettle flowed down like a terrifying waterfall with terrifying penetrative power. Below them was the lava astral beast that spanned over 1,000,000 kilometers. Its entire body was like a sea of fire as it stood upright in the void. Its body shape was similar to that of a human. On its body, flaming lava exploded continuously like a flaming meteorite that would explode at any time. A huge rope was held in the hands of dozens of experts as they prepared to attack the lava astral beast. "This is..." Wang Xian swept his gaze across and was surprised to see over 100 experts. These experts were very strong and the carnate cardinal treasures in their hands were also very powerful. However, they were clearly not experts from the same race. There were phoenixes, tigers, humans, and sorcerers among the more than 100 powerhouses. There were even experts from other races. It was a rare sight to see more than 100 powerful experts working together in the Invincible domain. "They are devil breakers. They are experts from the circle of devil breakers," Wu Shuo, who recognized the group of experts, said to Wang Xian. "Devil breakers?" Wang Xian nodded slightly. This was a circle of experts from the Long River and could be considered as half a force. The experts of this force all aimed to break through to the universe sovereign realm. They had also reached an agreement that once an expert broke through, they would also share their breakthrough experience. There were close to 200 experts in such a force. Among them, there was even an expert at the mad demon level. However, that mad demon rarely appeared. Clearly, he wasn't in a good condition. Wang Xian sized them up one by one and realized that many of these devil breakers had bought eternal pregnancy fruits from him before. Moreover, they had bought quite a lot. "Seems like someone beat us to it," Wang Xian mumbled to himself. "Dragon King, given our strength, we can definitely chase away these devil breakers or even kill them. This lava astral beast will still belong to us," Wu Shuo said coldly. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. In the Invincible domain, the strong preyed on the weak. It was much crueler than the outside world. Killing and robbing was a common sight. "Don't come out first. I'll chase them away," Wang Xian said. He moved and exuded a strong aura as he flew forward. Boom! When Wang Xian flew over, a terrifying aura surged towards the battlefield. Chapter 3661, Rumble, Rumble. When Wang Xian flew forward, the powerful aura changed everyone's expression. The 100-odd demon breakers were shocked when they sensed a daunting aura charging towards them. "Who's that?" They hurriedly looked over with a solemn look on their faces. Such a daunting aura was even more daunting than the lava astral beast that they were fighting against. I'm taking this lava astral beast. All of you, leave now. Wang Xian flew straight ahead and swept his gaze across all the experts indifferently. Heh! Retreat! Get out of the attacking range of the lava astral beast. It's the Dragon King. It's the Dragon King from the Dragon Palace. One by one, the experts from the Demon Destroyer force looked at Wang Xian and shouted loudly. All of them retreated quickly to prevent the lava astral beast from attacking. At the same time, all of them were looking terrible. They were very strong and even had the confidence to kill this lava astral beast station. However, the Dragon King who had appeared out of nowhere was even stronger. The Old Witch was suspected to have been killed by him. The Old Witch was an extremely terrifying existence. Even the leader of the Demon Breakers wouldn't dare to say that he could defeat the Old Witch. The 100-odd Demon Breakers retreated from the attacking range of the lava astral beast and looked at Wang Xian bitterly. Dragon King, what's the meaning of this? An old man with an illusory palace above his head asked Wang Xian with a sullen face. I'm taking this lava astral beast. All of you, leave now. Otherwise, don't blame me for not going easy on you. Wang Xian looked across all the experts and replied plainly. You, Dragon King, this lava astral beast is ours. We locked onto it first. The old man with the illusory palace above his head said with a sullen face. That's right, Dragon King. We, the Demon Breakers, aren't afraid of you. Opposite the old man, a divine tiger stared at Wang Xian and shouted. Hee hee. Wang Xian chuckled. With a flick of his palm, a 5 elements grindstone appeared in his hand. On the 5 elements grindstone, waves of daunting aura swept across the surroundings. You guys didn't offend me. Therefore, I won't fight you guys. Leave in 10 seconds. Wang Xian warned plainly. What treasure is that? Why is its aura so terrifying? Let's go. We are no match for him. He was able to kill the crazed devil seal and the old witch. His strength is not something we can contend against. The exorcist's expressions changed drastically. They looked at each other and whispered. His face was filled with unwillingness as he glanced at the lava astral behemoth. His figure moved and he retreated backward. When the roam void beast saw the group of fellows that surrounded it escaping, it roared furiously and stared at Wang Xian. His eyes were filled with a brutal look. Roar! With a wave of his arm, huge meteorites smashed towards Wang Xian. Hee hee, magic breaker, you'd best not try anything funny. Scram immediately. Wang Xian bellowed. With a swift move, he charged towards the lava astral beast. Su su su. Behind them, the group of demon destroyers quickly retreated, each of them looking extremely embarrassed. The hunting plan that we have been planning for over 100 years has been foiled by the Dragon King. Once we kill this lava astral beast, we will be able to improve tremendously. I can't take this lying down. A fire attribute expert growled in a low voice, his face filled with rage. The dozens of experts of the fire attribute also had mixed expressions. Why don't we wait for him to kill the lava astral beast and sneak an attack on him? The lava astral beast is very strong. Even if the Dragon King can kill it, he will consume a lot of energy. When the time comes, we might be able to kill the Dragon King. Moreover, the Dragon King has a lot of treasures with him. If we can get them. A fire phoenix flapped his wings and spoke with murderous intent in his eyes. His words caused the eyes of more than 100 experts to freeze slightly. No, it's too risky. The other party is an expert who can easily kill the crazed devil seal. An old man shook his head and objected. The strength of the crazed devil seal is not as strong as the lava astral beast. However, the chance of us sneaking an attack on the Dragon King is too small. An expert of the Divine Tiger clan shook his head. Are we going to give up on our plan of hundreds of years? For this plan, we have paid a huge price and prepared many treasures. A fire attribute expert continued to speak unwillingly. Let's report this to Lord Jin 2. Lord Jin 2 has already reserved the heart of the lava astral beast. An expert of the Divine Tiger clan said, Lord Jin 2 has just obtained more than 80 eternal pregnancy fruits. He should be stabilizing his mind now. He might not be able to contact him. Let's give it a try first. More than 100 experts of the Circle of Exorcist floated in the void, waiting quietly. The prey of their Circle of Exorcist had been snatched away by the Dragon King. This made them feel very indignant. Their circle had experts of the crazed devil level. Other than the crazed devil level experts, there were also 2 other peak experts. With their strength, no forces dared to provoke them. Even the circle of other peak clans had to be wary of them in the Invincible domain. Lord Jin too has replied. The old man in the illusory palace above his head spoke as he looked at the message on the universe AI in shock. What's wrong? The group of experts stared at him. Lord Jin too is rushing towards us now. He didn't say anything about the specific situation. The old man in the illusory palace above his head said to them. His words caused the surrounding 100 or so experts to reveal a look of surprise. Rumble. At the same time, in a cluster of palaces on the other side of the Invincible domain, a figure was flying towards the other side of the river at a terrifying speed. This figure had a pair of golden blue wings with sparkling stars on them. He had a tail like a bee with sharp thorns on it. The position of his body was similar to that of a human. His pupils were also like bees, and there were many golden dots in them. At this moment, his pupils were emitting golden radiance. After digesting more than 80 eternal pregnancy fruits, I can temporarily suppress my mind. There won't be any problems for at least tens of millions of years. In this state, my mind is clear and I even have a vague method of breakthrough. If I can absorb enough eternal pregnancy fruits, I might be able to complete the breakthrough and not lose my mind. Consume the eternal pregnancy fruit. Consume the eternal pregnancy fruit. Deep growls came from his mouth. Chapter 3662. The powerful effect of the eternal pregnancy fruit was beyond the Jin 2's expectation. He had asked the other demon breakers to bring the fruit to him so that he could try it out. He didn't expect that after absorbing 80 eternal pregnancy fruits, he would be able to suppress the inner demons in his heart. He had regained his sanity. At the moment, he felt that he was in an exceptionally good condition. He could hold on for millions of years without going all out in battle. Moreover, he felt that once he solved the problem of his mind, he would be able to achieve a breakthrough. The eternal pregnancy fruit was fine, but he knew that he would need to consume more eternal pregnancy fruits, at least 100 more. According to his calculations, he would need to sell the only carnate cardinal treasure in his possession to obtain more than 100 eternal pregnancy fruit. What he didn't expect, however, was that the other powerhouses in the circle of demon breakers would bring him this news. My strength is at an unprecedented peak. If I can maintain my sanity, my combat power will increase and I can cooperate with other demon breakers. The Dragon King has broken a plan of the demon breakers. I was going to use the lava galactic beast's heart to suppress my water elemental energy and mind, but now I have a better choice. I can't use my carnate cardinal treasure to trade for the eternal pregnancy fruits, but if I want a large number of eternal pregnancy fruits, Jin 2, who had a pair of golden blue wings, suddenly came to a halt, and a thoughtful look appeared on his face. He turned on the universe AI and checked the information about the Dragon King. He frowned as he read the information. It will be difficult for me to kill that Dragon King with more than 150 Devil Breaker experts. That Dragon King has a large number of eternal embryo fruits, and his strength is even more terrifying. Both the crazy devil seal and the old witch died at his hands. So what if the crazy devil seal died, but the old witch's strength is extremely terrifying? The Jin too murmured. His mind was clear and he was thinking about what to do next. He looked at the long river and flew downstream. After flying for dozens of minutes, he hovered above the river. He moved his palm and punched down. Boom. The energy fell into the river and stirred up a large area of the river. His sneak attack was not an attack, but a gentle power. Buzz. In the long river below, the entire river water suddenly surged. On the surface of the river, an enormous human face slowly formed. Water demon, there's a good thing. It's a great opportunity for you and me. Are you interested? Jin 2 floated above the river and looked at the gigantic face as he spoke. Jin 2, your aura is very stable. It looks like you've temporarily suppressed your inner demons. If you have anything to say, hurry up and say it. The huge face on the river replied. You should be able to tell my current situation. I'm doing very well now because I've obtained a large number of divine fruits that can stabilize one's mind. The Dragon King of Dragon Palace has many of these divine fruits. I have a premonition that if I can consume a large number of these divine fruits, I will be able to break through the shackles and reach the universe ruler realm. Jinan looked at him and said, Hualala. As soon as he finished speaking, the gigantic face condensed into a figure. The figure was completely condensed from water. He raised his head and stared at Jin and Dragon Palace. Who is the Dragon King? Water Demon asked. You'll know in a flash on the universe AI. It's extremely difficult for you to integrate your body into the river and calm your violent mind. As long as you have enough eternal pregnancy fruits, you don't have to take the risk. Jinan said to him. Water Demon moved his palm and a universe AI appeared on his palm. He checked the information and the water flowed on his body. I can use innate cardinal treasures to exchange for a large number of eternal pregnancy fruit. Water Demon suddenly said after a dozen seconds. Water Demon, one innate cardinal treasure might not be enough. We don't know how many eternal pregnancy fruits we need to stabilize our mind. I'm here for the second plan. Jinan continued speaking to him. Speak. Water Demon stared at him with flickering eyes. The Dragon King is in the depths now. Kill him and everything he has will be ours. Jinan's eyes flickered. Based on the information on the universe AI, we're not his match. Water Demon said. We have over 150 experts from the Devil Destroyer Circle over there. He snatched one of our space beasts. Jin too said bluntly, in my current situation, I can fight a few battles with all my strength if I can maintain my mind. Water Demon, you only need to create a powerful water clone. You can take 40% of the eternal embryo fruits. The 40% of the eternal embryo fruits he has should be no less than 200 or 300. All right. Water Demon hesitated for a moment before nodding his head. A fight might allow him to break through and solve the problem of his heart demon. Naturally, he was decisive. Let's go. We have to rush over now to prevent him from escaping. Jinan's eyes lit up. Water Demon couldn't rush over with his true body because he would lose his mind if a battle broke out. When he lost his mind, he wouldn't be able to differentiate between friend and foe. Therefore, Water Demon could only come with his clone. Although he couldn't use his full strength, it wouldn't be a problem for him to fight against two old monsters in the Invincible domain, Jinan himself, Water Demon, and over 150 experts from the Devil Destroyer Circle. He had an 80% chance of defeating the Dragon King. After all, when all these forces were added together, they could even defeat a second-order universe sovereign realm expert. In his opinion, an 80% chance of success was worth the risk. Their combined strength was equivalent to 4 mad demons. According to the information he got from the universe AI, the Dragon King's strength should be comparable to 3 mad demons. However, this was the depths of the Invincible domain. He couldn't instantly return to his god kingdom. Even if he was slightly stronger than the opponent, he could defeat or even kill the opponent. You're too slow. Use your water energy on me, void water escape. Water Demon's body was formed from the laws of water. His body glowed and turned into a small river. All right, Water Demon, your water escape is the strongest in the Invincible domain. Together with my energy boost, we can burst out with incredible speed. Jinan looked over and his eyes lit up. He laughed loudly. Boom. Jinan entered the small river and used his water energy. The entire tiny river flowed forward at an unimaginable speed.